All right, we are live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to LeadUpTeach on YouTube Live with myself, Heidi Veal, and co-hosts Elizabeth Bostwick and Laura Gilchrist. I'm an assistant principal at a bilingual early childhood school in North Texas, and I also co-founded and co-moderate LeadUpTeach and ECE Chat. Tonight on episode 17, the first episode of 2017, LeadUpTeach is so excited to welcome Dr. Stephen Weber. Dr. Weber is the Associate Superintendent for Teaching and Learning with Fayetteville Public Schools in Fayetteville, Arkansas. He is also a BAMI Award nominee, an ASCD EduBlogger, and PDK International Emerging Leader. Before we get started, Elizabeth, will you take a minute to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Bostwick, and I teach fourth grade in the Finger Lakes region of New York. I'm very passionate about fostering a true love of learning within all students by immersing them in opportunities to learn in PBL, makerspace, and empowering them to just ignite their shine. So Laura, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Laura Gilchrist, and I'm an instructional coach at Turner High School in Kansas City. We've got an ice storm on the way, so everybody's going to the store. I'm passionate about a lot of things, but I'd say that the main thing right now is the power of connecting learners. That would be students, teachers, and parents with their city or regional ecosystem to allow students to learn with not only, the wonderful resources and opportunities in their schools, but also out in the cities that, I find there's kind of a gap between. Anyway, Stephen, we are so excited for you to be joining us. Please take a minute to introduce yourself.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here tonight. And thank you. Each of you connect with me through Voxer and Twitter chats, so it's nice to have a face-to-face chat, but you help me as a leader through your wisdom and all you've shared with me over the last 2 years. I recently moved back to Arkansas. I grew up in Arkansas and was a first-year teacher in West Memphis, Arkansas. And I've also, during my career, worked at the Arkansas Department of Education and the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. And I've been a curriculum director. And my current job is, as we said earlier, Associate Superintendent with Fayetteville Public Schools. And I have a passion for teaching and learning and really reaching all students. And I believe in the power of a professional learning network, or a PLN, where you can connect just like we are tonight, share ideas and resources. And that's how I get better, is through my PLN.
Well, wonderful.
I so agree with that. Sorry. Well, welcome, Stephen. We also want to give a very special welcome to our LeadUpTeach audience who are watching here on YouTube and also chatting on Twitter tonight. Feel free, those of you who are watching, to share out quotes or ideas. Connect with one another on Twitter using hashtag LeadUpTeach.
Yes, and tonight on this exciting 17th episode of LeadUpTeach and the first LeadUpTeach episode of 2017, we're thrilled to hear Stephen's mission to transform teaching and learning with curriculum design.
So to get us started tonight, Stephen, would you please share with us a little bit about your journey that led you to be the inspiring educator that you are today?
Thank you. I really started with curriculum design as a classroom teacher, like we all did. And from being a classroom teacher, I went on to, after a couple of jobs, I became the social studies director with the Arkansas Department of Education for K-12 social studies. And I had been a 5th and 6th grade social studies teacher. So the first time I went out to high school and I tried to lead professional development or curriculum development, I realized really quickly that there was a lot I had to learn about curriculum design and about unpacking standards, because obviously elementary and middle and high school have different ways of doing things, even though they're all teaching students. And I realized pretty quickly that the same professional development that I used with elementary wasn't working that well that day with high school. And I had a few more experiences like that, and I thought, well, I'm either going to have to go back to a school district or figure out how to lead professional development and curriculum design. So it was at that point that I just started grabbing, and this is old school, every VHS tape I could find, from Rick Stiggins to Tom Gusky to Grant Wiggins, Heidi Hayes Jacobs. If the State Department had a book or a VHS tape, I'd take it home, grab some popcorn. My wife would never watch them with me. Grab some popcorn and watch some curriculum design VHS tapes and highlight some books. And then I just kind of taught myself. And then what I learned, I would take, and that helped me as I worked with teachers. So really working at the State Department forced me to expand from just being an elementary educator to K-12.
Awesome. Well, I'm just so happy that I got to meet you at Ed Camp KC back in November.
I was just talking about that today.
Yeah, conversation with you. So you are incredibly passionate about curriculum design as a vehicle for transforming teaching and learning. Share with us your why for this passion.
I think there are a lot of ways that you can change the world. So my why is through curriculum design, whether that's helping students not go to prison, and that's kind of a negative example, but also college and career readiness, closing achievement gaps, helping the student who is in poverty and doesn't maybe have the same vocabulary coming into kindergarten. I believe curriculum design helps all students, and also believe it helps all teachers, because through the process of curriculum design, we become better. So whether you're in a PLC, a professional learning community, or you're working with a team of teachers at your grade level, or you're doing vertical alignment, any of these processes support teaching and learning. And just a few I'd like to mention that over the career have influenced me. I've been influenced by Lynn Erickson, concept-based curriculum design. I've been influenced by Larry Ainsworth, and he's written a lot of books about the Common Core State Standards and unpacking standards, and also common formative assessment. Grant Wiggins and Jay McTighe probably have influenced me more than any other group, and I've been influenced by their work through curriculum by understanding by design and schooling by design. Heidi Hayes Jacobs has been very influential. And then there are a lot of people who work with Heidi Hayes Jacobs, like Mike Fisher, Ben Akalik, and Janet Hale, among others. So there's a wide variety, and I don't think there's any right way to do curriculum design. You have to do what's best for your district. And some people don't have very much time. Some people don't have very many resources. Some people don't have more than 1 week in the summertime. So you can have a really robust curriculum, but it takes time. And it's kind of like the crock pot versus the microwave. And I believe the crock pot curriculum design is the best process, because it takes time, and over time we all get better, and we have a clear understanding of the learning targets or the essential questions and what we want all students to know and be able to do. But a lot of districts try that microwave process, and in the end, I don't think it's the same product.
Wow, that's very insightful, Stephen. Thank you. And I especially love how you hit on the topic of PLCs. Could you share more about the implications of this for both educators and students?
Certainly. PLCs have influenced me for the last 10 years, working closely with Rick and Becky DeFore, Cassandra Erkins, and several solution tree consultants when I was in North Carolina. We had a partnership. It was Triangle High Five, and for 10 years, from 2006 to present, Triangle High Five would bring in solution tree consultants, and they would work with our teacher leaders and with our administrators on professional learning communities. So anything from starting with the norms to the SMART goals to common formative assessments. And I really think common formative assessments are the anchor or the cornerstone of a PLC. A lot of people try to get in there and plan lesson plans, and that's important. But without the formative assessment, I think you're missing something in the PLC. And the thing we're working on in Fayetteville, Arkansas right now is really giving our teachers more time. This is my first year in the school district, and we've recognized that at some grade levels, teachers don't have enough time. So you can't, it's like the microwave example. You can't just ask teachers to become a PLC without giving them time. And we're working on that, looking at this summer and going into next year. But if teachers don't have time to do the work, it's very difficult. Mike Mattos, all of the people with Solution Tree have really shaped how I view PLCs. But it's kind of funny, because when I started as a first-year teacher, I really had a connected hallway of veteran teachers. I was the rookie on the block, and I had 5 other teachers, and they all supported me and helped me. And little Stephen, you know, how can we help you? I was a lot younger than the teachers in my hallway, and they were always willing to help me out. But it wasn't a PLC. That didn't exist when I started the teaching profession. When I started, you went and said, you know, can I get some help on this? And every now and then you asked for help. But it really wasn't sit in a room, analyze student data, switch students across the hall. These are all our kids. We believed these were all our kids, but we really taught in isolation. When we closed our door, these were our kids in our classroom, and we taught the way we wanted to. We didn't share a lot of instructional strategies. And so I think we've come a very long ways in education. And if a school district's not operating as a PLC, I would just ask why not?
That is a great question. So, Stephen, would you share some of your favorite ideas or strategies for curriculum designing that lead to transformational teaching and student learning on a routine basis?
Yes. And it's hard in this short interview or short conversation, but understanding by design would probably be the gold standard, but it takes a lot of time. So a lot of districts start it and then they don't finish because understanding by design takes a lot of time. Within those, you have characteristics of a quality curriculum, and those characteristics would be essential questions. Those would be transfer goals, and that would be part of UBD as well. If you don't have a transfer goal, it's very hard to know if you ever arrived. It's nice to know if the students can apply the skills and concepts. So the transfer goals are planning with the end in mind. So all of this is very much UBD. So I think understanding by design is one of my favorite for sure. Within that, you could look at other examples from, as I said, Lynn Erickson with concept-based curriculum instruction. And I believe this year, pretty soon, February, maybe they're coming out with a revised version of her latest book on concept-based curriculum and instruction. And then I think when you get in there and you work with curriculum design, every teacher needs to have a clear map of where they're going. So curriculum mapping, some people say it's outdated, but I don't think it is. I think curriculum mapping is still very powerful, and there are curriculum mapping tools, software companies that you can look into, like Atlas has been around a long time, and these tools and companies support by giving data and feedback on where teachers are going and where they've been. But the second question you asked was, how does it benefit students, right?
Leading to student learning on a routine basis.
Right.
How does it impact? Yeah.
So I believe you have to have learning targets, and you have to have those written in student-friendly language. Then you have to have common formative assessments, and it's similar to someone who's checking their pulse. And when you check your pulse, you're checking to see how am I doing. And we probably don't do that often enough in classrooms where the student can check their pulse. I know in a Leader in Me school, that's a big thing, student goal setting. So there are schools where students are setting goals, measuring their progress. And there are ways to do this. You don't really have to have a program to do a lot of these things because there are common characteristics with quality design. And you've heard me, all three of you heard me talk a lot about learning space. So I think I'll just give one quick example to close. If I walk into a fourth grade classroom and the learning space, they say, well, we'd like to have balls and we'd like to have cube chairs and we'd like to have raised elevated tables, desks. We'd like to have some pillows. We'd like to have some bean bags. I ask them, what are your learning targets? You should start with your learning space with what are you trying to achieve in your classroom. So if you're trying to achieve the 4 C's and the 4 C's are your goal, then does your fourth grade classroom reflect a class where students could practice the 4 C's? And too often we try to make a classroom look like something fancy off of Pinterest or something we saw on Twitter. And what we really want to aim for is what are the learning targets. Then we design the classroom, and that's kind of understanding by design. Everything we do is by design. It's more intentional than just hoping student understanding and transfer will happen because we taught it.
One little sub question there. Have you seen a school turn the corner when they've all, bought into the curriculum design?
Yes, I can't give a specific example right now, and I'm new in this district, but I hope that you can say Fayetteville, Arkansas in another year or two. But once people buy into curriculum design, there should be teacher voice. There should be administrator voice. This shouldn't be something somebody sits in their office and types and creates. Now, there's certainly high quality curriculum you can purchase. I'm not against purchasing curriculum, but if it's true curriculum design in your district, then there should be a committee and there should be buy-in. So for our school district, we will start that this school year with our K-12 mathematics, and then we'll follow with other subject areas. But a lot of school districts will have a 5-year curriculum design process. Now, the beauty of technology is now anytime people should be able to have a blog or a chat or a Google Doc or like this, a Google Hangout, where they can communicate about the strengths and weaknesses of the curriculum document. And that's the difference between when I started and they gave it to you in a 3-ring binder or shrink wrap. Now with technology, in real time, we should be able to make those changes. We shouldn't have to wait till the 5-year curriculum review cycle at year 5 to make revisions. And that's the beauty of a professional learning community as well. PLCs all across the district can be sharing and communicating with each other using technology.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well said. Yeah, I remember when I started teaching, it's like, here you go. Here's the curriculum. Go. You know, there's no input. You just ran with it. And that's true. And I think we need to reflect as educators on that, the fact that we have these tools that can allow us to really, you know, dynamically design. If you could share one thing you would like Lead Up teachers to walk away with or go out and do to make a difference, what would that be?
I would just like every educator to add value to others. And so that could be your students, that could be your coworker, that could be your PLC, it could be your principal. Teachers can add value to principals. It could be your superintendent. It could be the mother who comes in and she's struggling and she's having a difficult time raising her children, and you add value to her through the way you handle the parent-teacher conference. But I believe if more people would seek to add value to others, then we could have a much better education system. And in addition to that, some of you are already teacher mentors. You don't have to have a title to be a mentor. When you see a first-year teacher and they're having a difficult time, reach out to that person, give them a note, and, you know, buy them some chocolate or take them out afterwards, go out after work, go out to a restaurant, but invest in people. So adding value means that you intentionally invest in people. So just like we want to intentionally design curriculum, let's all try this year in 2017 to intentionally add value to others.
I love that. That is a great challenge for our Lead Up teachers to walk away with, for sure. And so, Stephen, as we wrap up, we'd love to hear what's coming up for you in the near future and also how our listeners can continue to connect with you.
On a personal level, they can connect with me, as you know, on Saturday mornings on Lead Up Chat. Every Saturday morning, we have several educators all across the United States, including these 3 ladies. And that's how we first met each other, was through Lead Up Chat. Also, Culture of Learning Chat on Monday nights is another favorite that I have. And I like COL Chat. And I also like several other chats that are going on throughout the week. And I can't name them all, but Twitter chats are a great way to connect. And I jump in when I see a topic that's something I can learn from. And I enjoy connecting with other educators. I'm also on ASCD Edge. I'm a blogger, and I post blogs on ASCD Edge on a regular basis, and I enjoy reading others' blogs. If you're not already a blogger, you can join on ASCD Edge, and you can post your own blogs as a teacher or administrator. As far as Fayetteville Public Schools go, we're just seeking to really retain the best teachers that we have, and whenever we lose teachers due to retirement or resignation, we're looking to hire the best from across the United States. We have a brand new superintendent, Dr. Matt Wendt, and he came here from Illinois, from Oswego, Illinois, and they had done a lot of work with curriculum design. And then I came in from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and hopefully I'm bringing some of my experiences with me from Chapel Hill. And I'm just really proud of the work of our teachers and administrators. And we see that we're moving in a positive direction with curriculum design, with supporting the whole child. And we hope that Fayetteville Public Schools is recognized nationally. We're not there yet, but we're on the move.
Well, that's what's important too. Stephen, thank you so much for joining us on Lead Up Teach tonight. I know our audience completely enjoyed hearing about your personal journey and all that you're doing to be a positive influence in education. And we just want to thank all of our amazing audience who tuned in to listen and who will listen in the future as well.
And we'll be sharing out the link to tonight's YouTube episode on Twitter, so please share that out as well.
We're excited to announce the date and time of our next Lead Up Teach episode. We want everybody to go ahead and mark their calendars. Episode 18 will feature special guest Stephen Barkley on Saturday, February 4th at 9 a.m. Central Time, following Lead Up Chat at 8:30 a.m. We're changing things up a bit.
So yes, we're so excited. It will be our first Saturday morning featured Lead Up Teach in combination with Lead Up Chat. So between now and our next episode, we encourage all of you to follow and connect with Stephen Weber on Twitter, and also use the hashtag LeadUpTeach to connect and share. We're signing off. Good night, all. Lead on and lead up.
Night.